Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. I decided to do rulebook looks back to back because I like doing it. I do have a fair amount to do. I don't feel super like with Solar Smugglers. I'm not sure I'm really feeling very strongly to like go through some self play testing today, but that is the game in focus at the moment. So I just thought, you know what, a rulebook look is gonna just feel good, just pretty like low energy, just have a nice time. But low energy would be the incorrect way to describe the game in focus today, which is peanut butter jelly time from Tjay Bagwell. Interested to have a look. It looks like I think I just looked at the list. Where did I put that? So it looks like at the moment I'm still getting like requests, but like bit by bit, but it looks like I have 5 more lined up right now, which is it's not crazy. Yeah, not out of control. I've been in the middle of a lot of Arc Nova and Beyond the Sun games, which has been really enjoyable. Also, a couple of other things before I really dive into the rulebook here. Cool experience yesterday and last night. So for those of you who are very experimental with AI, you'll be interested to know that I am checking out OpenClaw, which is like the open source AI agent tool. I don't know. My friend Justin told me about it, and then Jeremy mentioned it on Monday night. And so I investigated a little bit, was way off base with what I was looking for at first. Then Justin put me on track. I texted him. I said, "Is this right?" And he said, "Actually, it's definitely not like that. It's like this." And then I went down that pathway, and within a little chunk of time, I was talking with an AI assistant, an agent, excuse me, who I then gave some permissions to alter my Discord server and to have ideas for it. And so guess what it did is pretty wild. So nice. What it did was pretty crazy. So I knew that there was a big mess with notifications and like the way that I make progress on my designs. It observed that too and said, "Yeah, it'd be super annoying to be in your server, basically." And so what we did was a couple of things. The first one, it was a test, and I had now this was all my assistant's idea. My assistant's name is Seamus. It was all Seamus's idea to move all of my design channels, all the stuff that I kind of divided between these design channels into a forum, and then make a post in the forum for each of my games. And in this way, I can tag the games. I can say, these games I want to be active right now. And so I do have 4 active games. Or I could filter by inactive, and these are all the ones that I've, kind of cooled on or slowed down on. So that was pretty neat. Just, having the ability to filter. Well, it just did all of it. It went into my server, moved all these channels down, created these posts, linked to the server channels. I'm sorry, linked to the channels where I used to be writing all the discussions, so that if I need to go, catch up to what's been archived, I can just click on this and it'll take me down to wherever my old content was. So anyway, it just built all this, moved everything around, relabeled things, created these posts. Okay, so that was the first test, and I was like really impressed by that. The next thing is that it had a lot of suggestions for how to handle the onboarding and how to limit people's notification fatigue or reduce the potential for notification fatigue. So now everybody, as they go through this onboarding process, or when they complete the onboarding process, or when they update their characteristics, they shouldn't even see channels that don't apply to them. That's the hope. So anyway, just really cleaned things up. Like the difference is amazing. So everything is kind of reduced down here. Yeah, bummer. So I messed this up. Oh man, I don't like doing this kind of thing. Like, oh, I forgot that we're having our dinner and connect group tonight just nearby. Usually we do it in Pearl City, and so I told the lady I'm picking all the DTF stuff, the direct to fabric stuff, like the prints. I told her, oh, I'll be in Pearl City on Wednesday. I'll pick them up on Wednesday, but now I'm not going to be in Pearl City, so I have to go anyway. I'm sure I could reschedule, but there's not like a natural time I'm going to be in Pearl City except for on my way to camp on Friday. So anyway, it's all coming together. Okay, that was the first thing is I had Claude, like not Claude, Open Claw work on this stuff. So pretty excited about that. And you know what I just realized? I might as well, I'm sure the designer here, Tjay, is going to be annoyed to have to sit through all this. I need to remember how to or I need to figure out how to put tags or what do you call that? into the videos, the timestamps. Okay, the other thing is that I was at I went to Other Realms and also stopped by Armchair last night. Two nice experiences. Of course, I'm going to play games and catch up with friends, but one of the players at Armchair Other Realms, she opened up, pulled up my website. We're talking about the retreat, and she said that her friend was thinking of going, and her friend plays at Cafe Villamore on Sundays. I don't really go to Cafe Villamore very much, but it was kind of neat that, anyway, this new friend, Winona, is interested in coming out. And that her friend had learned about it some other way, and that was pretty neat. So I think they're gonna come out. And then I was at Armchair after. Phil called me over. There's this couple that has a few questions, and just talking about the retreat, I'm just enthusiastic because this retreat is just really coming together. It's looking great. And so it feels good talking with people about it. I feel like I don't really have to sell it very hard. I just describe what we do. We're going to have this, and we're going to have this, and you can sign up for that. And then there's the bonfire. And this girl lit up when I said bonfire. It was awesome. And anyway, it's the guy's birthday on Saturday. So the whole thing might come together very nicely for them. And that's the point, is we're building, we're creating opportunities for people to come together, have a nice time, make memories, grow as individuals and as a community. What's not to love about that? Get on board, make it happen. So, well, anyway, lots of things to be excited about. Let me get to, I don't think I saved that list. I am going to jump into to the rulebook now. Once I get things adjusted just a little bit. Okay. So this is peanut butter jelly time. I know nothing about the game. Wow. 2 to 8 players, 5 minutes. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's personal information on there. I don't think that's supposed to be visible. Certainly not a home address and phone number. So I think I might have messed up just now. Okay. Great. Components list. I would usually like to say, okay, let me frame this really quickly. I know nothing about this game. My goals here are to experience the rulebook as it is written from top to bottom. I probably won't get to the bottom, but I have a lot of needs as a reader. I'm a dummy reader. I need to be fed information on time and in ways that I can understand. with the goal being the rulebook needs to get out of the way as soon as possible so that I can get to playing the game. A key has to be, well, the fundamental use or role of the rulebook is for players to learn how the game is governed, but how to manipulate components. That's a key. And also, what are the parameters for interacting with other players? I'm probably missing something in that list, but it's, in general, the two main things that I care about are what are the rules for manipulating components, moving things through space and that kind of stuff. And also, what are the parameters on or rules around interacting with other players? Like how do these things work, right? How does this game work? When do I do what? Those are the things I'm looking for as I dive in here. It's my own kind of rulebook philosophy. I'm sure I've absorbed, influences from various places, but that's where I tend to focus. 162 cards, 10 peanut butter, 10 jelly, and 10 bread cards in black. This list I would find a nice way to reduce. Also, a components list is often enumerated, so like you can just use I assume this means that there are 10 of these, right? Actually, this just came up in BGDL. Is like, what are some practical ways to list like cards of a certain type? Or like when there's a ton of components, how much detail do you have to give? So anyway, I might do, black cards or black suit. And then I might do : peanut butter times 10, jelly times 10, bread times 10, right? Something like that. Okay, 10 wild cards times 10. Anyway, a lot of this stuff, in fact, yesterday when I interacted with, or when I was messaging, what's his name? Anyway, the rulebook I looked at yesterday, I was messaging the writer and designer, Italo. I was messaging him yesterday, just sharing that I had the video ready. And my recommendation to him was to always check 5 or so rule books from games that are similar and just borrow from them. Just borrow the formatting, borrow the structure, just literally rip it off completely. Just borrow it and adapt it to your game. Rulebook, is this common? I feel like this is not common to list a rulebook in itself, like to have the rulebook refer to itself. Now, a components list on a cell sheet, sure, have a rulebook listed there, obviously. But anyway, it's a little bit odd for a rulebook to reference itself. Okay, the objective. Get rid of all of the cards in your hand by putting 1 peanut butter, 1 jelly, and 1 bread card, all of the same color, together in the center of the table in a pile, or by noticing a complete peanut butter jelly sandwich of a single color out on the table spread among 2 or more piles. Wow. So I think you covered a lot of ground here, which I think is great. I think you captured the main ideas for how the game can end, but I think we could work on this kind of thing. So in peanut butter and jelly time, there are 2 ways. The game can end in one of 2 ways, or the game can end, a player can win in one of 2 ways. First, blah, blah, blah. New sentence. Second, I don't want to see long sentences. This is technically 1 sentence. It is a run-on sentence, but it's still is actually 1 sentence. So it's not like what is that called? A fuse sentence or I don't remember. Get rid of all your cards. We can replace. This is one of the things. I would actually run some of this. I don't know, Jay, I don't know if you're up for this, but I would run some of this language through an AI tool, LLM of some kind, and just to help clarify and condense things. I can help with that a little bit. I am a large language model myself. Get rid of all the cards in your hand. Another thing you can say is empty your hand by putting 1 peanut butter, right? Also, I don't know that I need to know how emptying my hand works right now. I just need to know that a goal of the game is for me to empty my hand, right? And just by letting that be the objective, I've eliminated probably 20 words. You can tell me how I need to do this later, but that I need to do it is great to point out at the start of the game. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So my understanding now is there are 2 ways to win. One is to empty your hand. I assume that means to be the first player to empty your hand. That probably is important. The second way to end the game and to win is by noticing. I'm sure there's more to it than noticing. I imagine you need to do something about it. I don't know. I would workshop this area a fair amount here because you are setting the tone. This is the first This is the first players are being exposed to the ideas, the concepts, the mechanics in your game. And so you'd want this to be really crisp, really clear, easy to understand, and efficient to get through. Like very little energy to get through this section. Because of the sentence length and because of, in my view, this is my view, and I don't want to insult anybody here, but for me, this is a long, kind of convoluted description that could be very much condensed and clarified. And I think that should be a target here, especially as this is like first exposure stuff. Okay, get rid of all the cards in your hand by putting. Anyway, we can come back to that. But you see how I've kind of bounced off of this paragraph here. It's not even a paragraph. It's 1 sentence. Okay. Setup. Shuffle all 162 cards. Deal 7 cards to each player face down. The players can pick up their cards and look at them. It's such a tough balance to strike, right? Because you would imagine that most players most of the time will pick up their cards and look at them. They don't need to be told, but I get it. I appreciate that you're being sensitive to non-gamers here. Okay. Here's the funny thing. I really don't want to get stuck here, but shuffle all cards. It'd be nice if yeah, you probably don't need to say like 162. I'll reiterate here. I said the same thing when I was looking at Italo's rulebook. And that is that every time I have to read something, I need to my eyes scan it, pick it up, and process it. Every time there's something on the page for me to read and consume, it takes energy. So I think it's best for players to save their energy for the game and not use it on the rulebook. So if possible, condense, cut, whatever you can so that you can maintain clarity still, but also save your players' energy. Do they need to know that there are 162 cards? No, they don't. Not when it comes to shuffling them, but it could be shuffle all cards, right? Anyway, don't agonize here. Don't stress, but that's my philosophy at this point is reduce words until you're at risk of losing clarity, and at that point just stop. But otherwise, cut. Deal 7 cards to each player face down. What I like here is you're addressing a particular player, or you're addressing maybe like a GM at the table, and that it's direct address. You're talking to them, and they need to be doing things. I think that's a great approach. Deal 7 cards, not have a player, or a player deals 7, or someone at the table deals 7. It is go ahead and deal. Just you, whoever is reading this, deal 7 cards to each player face down. This is also an awareness thing. I think we need to be aware that often it's one player who's going to read the rule book, teach the game, right? So I think it's reasonable to address that one player. Talk to them directly. Have them do stuff. Give them instructions. Just like you did here. I really like this. The players can pick up their hands and look at them. I'm on the fence here about that one. Set 5 cards. Okay, set 5 cards face up in the center of the table in a line. I did mention this also recently that I do think it's important to be able to describe in language how things work and what players are supposed to do. But there's going to be a limit there. Just like there's a limit to what an icon can express, there's a limit to what language can express. So here I would absolutely expect to see an illustration of the layout, because in a line, it's not obvious what that means. I know it works and it will work for most people, but it isn't obvious what a line means. In other words, there are details. There are different ways you can approach making a line, right? Face up in the center of the table in a line. Does the orientation matter? Probably not. But those are little details, like how do I set up this line exactly? Don't stress though, but that's concretely, what do I have to do? Well, you're going to have an illustration that all the cards are going to be in the middle of the table, and they're going to be like portrait or oriented as if in like portrait mode. I don't know how to say that. But then they're going to be laying next to each other in a line, right? Whereas they could be oriented end to end and be in a line. But I don't know. Your illustration can do some lifting on this one. Okay, each of these 5 cards is considered I see what you're doing, and I really like the move here. I just wonder if there's another approach we can take. Each of these 5 cards is the beginning of a separate pile. Maybe, or is considered in its own separate pile. I don't know. I like it. I like that you built the bridge, and you're yes, I think this is a great clarifying step. Each of these 5 cards is considered to be in its own separate pile. Try to put these piles in a place that each player can reach. Don't try. Just tell them to, and this is common, right? This language is common. Within reach of all players. Like, just establish that this is a game where you're going to need to be reaching and, touching pile, interacting with piles, so they have to be within reach of all players. Fair enough. Or as close as possible, but still, the challenge your players to arrange the piles so that players as best as possible can reach them. So just tell them, put these piles within reach of all players. Put these 5 cards within reach of all players. Okay. If a complete peanut butter and jelly sandwich of a single color or the dancing banana or baseball bat cards are face up on the table, set those cards into the discard pile and replace them. Here is a trap. And I know why you're doing this, but I don't love that you're doing this. So if a complete peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the thing is, I know you have to do this and you have to say this, but we don't know what a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is yet. So it might be like another kind of illustration stepping in to help out. If you can just have an illustration on the side which shows what a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is, I think that would help. But I know this triggers the end of your game, so you can't allow it to be like in the setup. But still, either find a way to design the game so this is not possible. Play like have the setup so that it's not possible to have a full peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or define it somewhere. Because right now I don't know what that is. Right, remember I'm reading from top to bottom of a single color or the dancing banana or baseball bat cards. Nice. Are faced up on the table. Set those cards into the discard pile and replace them. Wow. It's not that they're shuffled back in. They're discarded. That's kind of wild. Like, I assume these cards are like important and interesting. And if you're telling me if they show up early in the game, I just ditch them. Maybe you're going to tell me that we shuffle frequently. Maybe that's going to happen. Take the remaining cards and put them in a face down stack. You might say pile. You've been saying piles so far. Or if you want to keep stack, and pile separate, because interesting. I would maybe just go with deck instead of stack if you did it here. Oh, because you want to define this thing, the stack. You want to define it as a draw deck. Take the remaining cards. Why not just place the remaining cards face down? Place the remaining cards face down near the line of 5 piles to form a draw deck. Right? I think that works. Okay, finally, reserve a space near the line of 5 piles for a discard pile if you don't have a discard pile already. You can see what you can see what the axe I'm pulling out already, right? So just give them some simple instructions. Why would they have? It's nice. It's sensitive. I actually think this is really sensitive wording here. Like it's very not precise, but like you're really thinking through the detailed experience of these people, which I think is amazing. But why would they have reserved a space already? Just ask them to reserve a space. Reserve space, not a space. Reserve space near the line of 5 pile. Near the draw deck, right? It'd be near the draw deck, not the 5 piles. Because the 5 piles, the draw deck is near the 5 piles. So incidentally, they're already going to be like near each other. Okay, whomever most recently ate a peanut butter jelly sandwich goes first. Cool. Can go first. No, they do go first, right? This is so interesting. This is like a really like polite style, but I think in a way it's reducing the directness you're comfortable with, or you would be comfortable using. You just need to order people around, right? They're not here in your rule book to feel respected. I don't think so. They're here because they want to know what to do. And I hadn't thought about this before because I don't think I've seen this style, this approach before, which is very humble. It's a very generous, very warm style. Like, that's what's going on up here. Hey, listen, I know you guys might have already I know you probably thought of this already. I know you might have already chosen some space near the draw deck for a discard pile, but just in case you haven't, make sure you save some space, okay, please? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from the rulebook. And that's like really considerate. But I don't think people are here in the rulebook. I don't think people will be needing that kind of rhetorical strategy in order to feel comfortable moving through the rulebook. So anyway, the player who most recently ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich plays first, right? Just hit him with it. It's okay. Be direct. Like, let him get through it as soon as possible. We already talked about this a little bit. The object of the game is to empty your hand. Is to get rid of all the cards in your hand. It's an interesting choice to refresh it right here. Also, isn't gameplay one word? I don't know. I feel like it is. Not a big deal. The object of the game is to be the first player to empty your hand of all cards. Something, it doesn't matter. But it's this feels get rid of. is a bit awkward to me. Get rid of. Is it to play all of, or to empty your hand of all of your? I don't know, something like that. Okay, starting with the first player. Oh, we're at 30 minutes, but I burned a bunch of time just as like intro stuff. So let's go for a little while. Starting with the first player, players will lay down. Wait a minute. Are people taking turns or no? They are, right? Because they're starting there's a first player, meaning there's going to be like a second player. And we're going to be advancing in turns. So where is, there's on your turn, it's down here. On your turn is down here, okay. I wonder why these like fonts and like formatting is different. Don't know. Okay. Okay, starting with the first player, players will lay down either one or two cards that advance or complete a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Is this okay? We're still in like an overview mode, right? A sandwich will be here's your definition, which I'm looking forward to. A sandwich will be exactly one peanut butter card, one jelly card, and one bread card, all of the exact same color, in a single pile or by combining multiple piles of the same color. Okay, this just threw me off. And I'll tell you why. You're not going to like it. I'm sure you've thought about it a whole lot. I'm sure you've agonized over this point. But a sandwich needs two pieces of bread. You already know that. You've already thought about it. You've lost sleep over it. But you're really going to break down the theming so much just by defining a sandwich as one bread card. I think this is a big mistake. I'm not in developer mode. I didn't mean to be, but I think defining a sandwich as being a stack of 3 cards and only one of them is a bread card, I think that is a huge thematic mistake. I think you're going to be confusing players all the time, no matter what. You've play tested it, I know, and I'm sure players have said, "Oh yeah, I can remember that," and then they do eventually. But just that it is flouting expectations so fundamentally, I think you are heading toward disaster on this one design decision. That's my guess. I'm so sorry to say that, but I'm shocked that this is the case. Let me look at it again. A sandwich is defined as exactly one peanut butter card, one jelly card, and one bread card, all the exact same color in a single pile. Wait. You can combine piles? Wait a minute. They are separate piles, and yet you can combine them? This I find very confusing. All of the exact same color. They don't need to be exact. Same is same. Especially if you only have 4. Oh, you have 5 very different suits here. You don't need to say exact same. That already assumes something which is exact. Like there's no spectrum of colors here. It's just, do you have the pink one? Okay. Do you have another pink one? Those are the same color. In a single pile. Oh, wait a minute. No. A sandwich is these 3 cards in a pile. So, this last third of the sentence, I feel is misleading. because when is there a sandwich? So can a sandwich exist between multiple piles? It doesn't exist yet, right? What is a sandwich? Define the sandwich itself, not what it has the potential. I think I see what you're doing. But at the same time, a sandwich is one thing. A sandwich is these three cards: peanut butter, jelly, and bread together, stacked together. Now, there is a process by which you can make a sandwich, right? But that is not the same thing as the sandwich itself. So all of the exact same color in a single pile, or, and this is the way to end the game, right? This was what you were referring to up here. By noticing a complete peanut butter jelly sandwich of a single color on the table, spread among two or more piles, right? So this is a very tricky thing conceptually, because first of all, you need to define what a sandwich is. And then it's a weird, this is a funny, like weird philosophy problem all of a sudden, because you almost have like Schrodinger's sandwich. Does the sandwich exist in two different states at once? Is it both spread out and together? No, this is not. No, it's not actually like that. But I believe, Jay, I believe you need to define sandwich as one thing. So it is not both three cards of the same color in the same pile and those same three cards if they were spread between multiple piles. I don't think those can be the same thing. I'm spending way too much time on this moment. But the definition of a sandwich, I'd say, sounds to me like the most essential feature of the game. What a sandwich is and what it's not. I'm, as I said, shocked and appalled that a sandwich does not include two bread cards. So anyway, that's something that you're going to need to wrestle with, and I'm sure you already have been. But that one is wild to me. Anyway, and then defining when a sandwich exists is going to be super important. There will never be more than three cards in a pile. Once a sandwich is made, discard those three cards and flip over a new card from the drop deck into the spots that were cleared. Wait a minute. Where are we? Okay, together the center of the or by noticing a complete peanut butter jelly sandwich of a single color out on the table, spread among two or more piles. Okay, what's going on here? There will never be more than three cards in a pile. Do I need to know that right now? Do I need to know that? I wonder why I need to know that. Once a sandwich is made, see, that's the thing. When is a sandwich a sandwich? I don't know. Or by combining, right? Yeah, so there's the making of the sandwich, and then there is the sandwich itself. Okay, there will never be more than three cards in a pile. I feel like this is out of context. I don't know what this means. Or it's lacking context. Once a sandwich is made, discard those three cards and flip over. Wait, I thought that's the end of the game. That's one way to end the game, right? Where did it go? One way to end the game. So you're saying I can have sandwiches. Let's see. Once a sandwich is made, how do I make a sandwich? I know one way is by combining cards from multiple piles. I think that's one way to make a sandwich. Discard those three cards and flip over a new card from the draw deck into the spots that were cleared. Wait a minute. Okay. Once a sandwich is made, discard those three cards. Oh, because so because there's only 3 cards in the pile, they're going to be a sandwich in that pile. It is the whole pile, right? It is the whole pile. Okay, I think I'm following a little better now. So if a sandwich is made, that sandwich is discarded, and it just happens that because there's a limit on the number of cards somehow, the whole pile is discarded. Yeah, okay. There should always be 5 piles when a player begins their turn. Oh, that's a great, very concrete observation. I love that. Where are we here, though? Gameplay. What are we doing here? I feel like gameplay... I think I have a feeling of the intuition behind putting this section here. Players take turns. Players take turns playing cards to add to, or what you have here is advance, or complete peanut butter jelly sandwiches. A sandwich is exactly 1 peanut butter, something of the same color. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, once your turn is over, we haven't talked about turns yet. Because this is on your turn. There should always be 5 piles. This feels like a detail about, like, okay, so what I would like here is a gameplay overview, which is very high level, not a lot of details. Then on your turn, and then everything that's possible to happen on your turn is in that section. And now it sounds like there is a kind of between turns kind of cleanup, something like that. So I would expect a section talking about what to do when a player's turn is over. So I think there is high level overview, gameplay, which you are working on, and then an on your turn, and then end of turn, like an end of turn section. So that's where I would expect to find this type of detail. Right? So refill the piles so that a player always begins their turn with 5 piles. That's right, something like that. So in the transition of somebody else's turn, you have to go through these steps. And I would want to see this at the end of on your turn or as its own section. I feel like that might be a little more intuitive than seeing it up here when I don't really know anything about turns yet. Not really. Okay. Once your turn is over, right? The person sitting to your left will take their turn. Okay, so play moves clockwise, or play advances clockwise. I appreciate that you're like really, really you're writing for, it sounds like kids or like a very, very inexperienced audience, and I respect that. Oh, you have it here. Wait, it's right here. Once your turn is over, the person sitting to your left will take their turn. Also, if it's a 2-player game, there is nobody to your left, right? So that's a little bit odd. That's why even clockwise is, I guess, it wouldn't really apply in a 2-player game. But play will continue in a clockwise manner like this until the end of the game. Yeah, I would just hit him with clockwise. That's my feeling. The number of cards you have in your hand is public information. This is a note for something for somewhere else, I think. It's great it's here. the number of cards you have in your hand is public information. It's great that this detail, you thought about this detail. But it's an odd moment for it. Okay, on your turn, play 1 or 2 cards from your hand onto a single pile of cards. Wait a minute. Yes, this is very tricky, I see. Because you can play 1 card onto a pile of cards. You can play 2 cards onto a single card. So I see the trap you've set for yourself. That's really tricky to describe. And it's very awkward here. If you think about how there might be only 1 card in the pile, in the middle of the table. You don't need to say where these piles are because you've put a lot of effort into telling us where the piles are before. Never play cards onto, isn't it onto, like one word? More than 1 pile. Great. Okay. So what I'm feeling here is a subheading. So on your turn, right? And actually I would probably move clockwise stuff. I'd move general things that happen in relation to turns. I'd move it into this section. And then subheading, playing a card or playing cards. So now all of that can be absorbed in this list. Or I'm sorry, that category can absorb this list. And I would probably put it in list form. I would not want my players reading paragraphs about this stuff. That's my personal opinion. Okay, on your turn. Starting with the first player, a player may play 1 or 2 cards, something, right? In the middle of the table. Playing a card. You may never play cards onto more than 1 pile. Only play cards that match the color of the cards that are already in that pile on the table. So this is a list, and I prefer formatting it as a list. Wild cards can be used as any color and any ingredient. This is the first you've introduced the term ingredient. I would make sure that that shows up before. It's not obvious to me that bread is an ingredient, right? Or that, well, peanut butter is itself a thing that would be in a recipe or something as an ingredient in a recipe. Breadcrumbs, maybe, but like it's odd to me to now be introduced to the idea that these are ingredients. What are the ingredients? If you think that the 3 different types of cards are now ingredients, I would introduce the term ingredients before. Because we're already like in the middle of the game, right? We're already trying to play. And now the things we have in our hands are different things than we thought. There's a category for them, and that category is ingredients. So I would want to learn about this ingredient thing before. Okay, either by themselves or coupled with another card. What does this mean to be coupled with another card? Oh, it's like once it's in a pile, that means it becomes a black card or becomes a blue card or whatever. Wild cards can be used as any color and any ingredient, either by themselves or coupled with another card. Stack cards askew. Oh no. We're going to definitely need some illustration here. Stack cards askew, laying the top card in such a way that all players can see the bottom card enough to tell the bottom card's color and ingredient. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, that's tough. I get it. This is a challenge here. Okay, now we're into like some logic, some if-then statements. I'm nervous about these because I see they go on for a while. So even a simple game, if it has this many if-then statements, I'm nervous about it because I think these conditions tend to be difficult in my view and in my experience as a person who teaches a lot of games, especially to non-gamers. This type of list is very, very risky. because it's hard for players to internalize such a long list. There's 4 things here. So 4 different conditions players need to be able to understand and track. So it's a lot. 4 is a long list. Okay, if you played 1 card and did not complete a peanut butter jelly sandwich, your turn is over. Play passes clockwise. If you played 1 or 2 cards and completed a peanut butter jelly sandwich, all stacked in a single pile, clear away the completed peanut butter jelly sandwich by discarding the pile. All 3 cards, that is the pile, right? All 3 cards, into the discard pile. Put a card from the draw deck face up in the spot that was cleared. Then your turn is over. Okay, I do like how clear this is, by the way. This is really nicely done. If you played 1 card and completed a peanut butter jelly sandwich spread among 2 or 3 piles, isn't that the end of the game? Get rid of all the cards in your hand. Same color. Or by noticing a complete peanut butter jelly sandwich of a single color out on the table, spread among 2 or more piles. I know you're screaming at the screen now, saying, no, that is not what you just read is and what I just and what I was reading down here. These are not the same things, but they feel like the same things. If you played 1 card, okay, so this is all about whether you played a card. Because if it's your turn and you notice at the start of your turn that there's a sandwich somewhere, that's different from you playing a card. Okay. If you played 1 card and completed a peanut butter jelly sandwich spread among 2 or more piles. Wait a minute. It's very weird to complete a sandwich that is split up between piles. Something feels very off about that. Then it is time to spread the jelly. Take 3 cards from the draw deck and hand them face down to the players to your left, 1 each until either you run out of cards or each opponent received exactly 1 card. Whoa. Wait a minute. Take 3 cards from the draw deck and hand them face down to the players to your left, 1 each, until either you run out of cards or each opponent received exactly 1 card. Huh. Okay. Not in love with what's going on here. So, oh man. Spread the jelly. Your opponents add these cards to their hands. After you have finished spreading the jelly, clear the completed sandwich off the board and put a card from the draw deck face up in each spot that was cleared. Your turn is over. Okay, so let's say that there are, what are the other colors in this game? Okay, so there are 2 green piles. There are 2 green piles. And let's say there's bread. Both, it doesn't matter what they start with. It sounds like it doesn't matter. Like sandwiches, the order really matters. But in this game, it sounds like the order doesn't matter. So let's say there is 2 piles, 2 green piles, with both have jelly in them, and another has wait, what? Okay. Two piles. They both have jelly. They both start with jelly. And then the first one also has bread. Okay. Two green piles. Both have jelly. Another one has jelly and two green piles. One is jelly and bread. One is jelly. So I can choose to play the peanut butter on top of the jelly, right? So now it's jelly and bread and jelly and peanut butter. But then what happens is that I remove this peanut butter card and the bread and either jelly. Is that possible? Like, should I be able to? Am I doing that? It feels like that seems like it should be impossible. Because it's just like unnecessary to describe. There's got to be a way to make that impossible. Because first of all, it's silly. So you might be thinking, well, nobody's going to do that. The player's just going to put the peanut butter on top of the bread, on top of the jelly. Because that's the easiest, most elegant thing to do. Then you just take away that pile. But I feel like these rules are saying I can do something else. I can do this weird thing where I'm not going to stack it on this pile just because. Is it that maybe I don't see it? Is that what happens? And so maybe the next player says, oh, there's a sandwich. Is that what is possible here? Oh, this is tricky. Okay, your opponents add these cards to their hands. Cool. Finishing spreading the jelly, clear the completed sandwich off the board, and put a card from the draw deck face up in each spot that was cleared. Fair enough. If you can play a card, then you must play a card. Okay, this is actually the first point. This should be the very first thing that you tell people when it comes to playing cards. If you can play a card, you must play a card. If it is impossible for you to play a card on your turn, draw one card. Yeah. This would be in this list. Like, if you can play a card, you must play a card. Should be in the list up here. That's like an essential rule. I get that your feeling was that it would be better if it was connected to if it's impossible to play. I get that, but like this is a global rule that everybody should understand, and it has to do with playing a card in general. If you can, you must, right? So I would shift that up here. Draw one card off the draw deck and put it into your hand, but that is drawing a card. So we're still dealing with some inefficiency here, some redundancy. So draw one card. That's it. Draw a card. That's what drawing a card is. It's adding it to your hand. Your turn is over. You cannot play the card you just drew until your next turn. If every player draws a card in this manner without any player being able to play, wait. Okay. So if you can play a card, you must play a card. If you cannot play a card, draw a card. Okay? Got it. If everybody goes around the circle and they cannot play, so they draw. So this is already built into the steps here. They can't play. You just told them even if they drew something they could play, they can't play it. So this is extra again, right? Maybe you feel like the need to reinforce, and maybe that's fine, but this is redundant here. Remove all 5 piles and put those cards into the discard pile. Okay, check this out. How about move all 5 piles into the discard pile? Right, you don't have to take the piles, turn them back into cards, and then move those cards into the discard pile. You can just move the piles into the discard pile. All right, deal 5 new cards into the center of the table in a line, the same way you did during setup. What did you just create? 5 new piles? And continue playing normally. Okay. Continue playing from where? So just Okay, so we go around the circle. I can't play, you can't play, you can't play. Now it's back to me. Because all three of us essentially passed, then I do this thing where I remove all the cards and refill the piles. And then I take my turn as usual, right? That's what playing normally means. I think I understand. Okay, when cards are being flipped off the draw deck, if you see all three ingredients of one color. Oh, Francisco, welcome. Okay, when cards are being flipped off the draw deck, if you see all three ingredients of one color that are spread out among two or more piles, then you can call out peanut butter jelly time, which sounds very fun, by the way. It does sound like there are some cool moments here. If you correctly identified a peanut butter and jelly time, no. Oh, wait a minute. No, this should be a... No, if you correctly identified a sandwich. Because identifying a sandwich is what allows you to say peanut butter jelly time. So I get that you're making this an event and wanting to label it that way, but it's still the pivot point is on the sandwich. So I know what you mean here, but I still think the focus is on the sandwich. Yeah, you in fact you don't have to use all these. No, if you see a sandwich spread out among two or three piles, if you put the energy into defining a sandwich in this way, which remember I think we should probably workshop, then you don't need to redefine sandwich here, and actually you don't mention sandwich at all. So it seems like you kind of lost the thread here, in that you put all of the effort into defining sandwich up top, and then you're not using it regularly when it's actually the thing that people are looking for and interacting with. You can imagine why that feels odd. Okay, if you correctly identified a peanut butter jelly time, then clear the three cards off the table and put them in the discard pile. You shall discard a card of your choice. Okay, there's some long sentences going on here. I like that you've been really sensitive, it seems like, to like young readers or inexperienced gamers, but then every now and then you hit them with like a 40-word sentence, 30-word sentence, and I would definitely want to reduce that sentence length like significantly. If you correctly identified a peanut butter and jelly time, clear the three cards off the table. Clear the sandwich, isn't it? Clear the sandwich off the table and move the sandwich into the discard pile. Yeah, there's this really interesting pattern here where there's like, get the cards and then move the thing into the discard pile. When you could just move the thing into the discard pile, and those would be the same thing. So I think you do have a lot of potential for condensing what you have here. Yeah, it is safer to have 30 pages of rules than for every sentence to be 30 words long. I am actually super on board with that idea, Francisco. Okay. After you have discarded the cards, probably the cards, refill the line of 5 piles, putting cards face up. Yeah, something here. This whole thing, like, I would find a way to kind of move things around, get some more headings involved, because you're repeating yourself, right? And I know it. I did this in the Rise of Babel rulebook. I did this. I kind of reinforced some of the language if I felt like, well, I want to talk about the whole process here. I'm not sure. I think when your turn is over, like, send them to the process to go through when their turn is over. But here you are describing like, yeah, like, look, this is the same stuff right here. So it's like whenever you make a sandwich, you need to tell people to basically like refill the center of the table, the piles in the center of the table every time. Whereas I think you probably could just say your turn is over and then define what it's like to end your turn, and like maybe it's like end of turn steps or something like that. And then and only then um describe what it, like refilling the piles. Because it's just, I think you could really strip out some of this excess verbiage here. Okay, remember to flip over new cards only after the player that called out peanut butter jelly time has discarded a card. Okay, something's going on here. What is this? What is this? So this is like, so I would have a heading here, peanut butter jelly time. If you're defining it as an event, as a thing that can happen, and it can happen like any time, then I would give it its own section. It needs to be, I see that you bolded it and you changed like the formatting of the text, but this is what headings are for. Headings are to set off, to make special. What is the what? Oh, now what is it to set? This is like a Bible term, like set aside a group as special, isn't it? To make holy, isn't holiness that idea? So set this off with a heading, so you don't have to do some of these formatting experiments. Okay, remember, see, we're still in the section related to peanut butter jelly time. So give that its own heading, right? Give it its own heading, because this is a section about peanut butter jelly time. I'm heading obsessed, I get it. I think they're really important for clarity, especially because they will catch the eye of somebody who's referencing the rule book too. Right? They're opening the rule book looking for, what do we do again when somebody says peanut butter jelly time? Well, give them that thing for their eyes to jump to, which is a heading. That's what it's for. All right. Next, remember to flip over new cards only after the player that called out peanut butter jelly time has discarded a card. This I don't understand. Okay, if you correctly identified a peanut butter jelly time, then clear the 3 cards. Clear, you have not been using the word clear. I don't think so. Let me see how many times clear is in here. Okay. Oh, yes, you have. Oh, yes, you have. I'm sorry, I missed it. But clear didn't stand out to me. It's just, are you discarding cards? Are you clearing cards? What's happening here? Clear the 3 cards off the table. But you don't mean that. You mean to move them to the discard pile. Right? Oh, this is the thing. This is kind of out of nowhere. This I had missed. And you shall discard a card of your choice from your hand, putting it in the discard pile. Okay, so I see peanut butter. I see a sandwich. I see peanut butter jelly time. I say peanut butter jelly time. I discard the sandwich that I saw, and I also discard a card from my hand. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think this is a calibration issue that all of us rulebook writers are dealing with constantly. Because check this out. When you discard a card, you are putting it in the discard pile. That's what it means to discard a card. Right? So this is, again, redundant. And I'm noticing this is the pattern. I think you've seen me mention it a few times. I like that you're being thorough, and I think that maybe the feeling that is pushing you to add these clarifying details. But to discard a card is to put it in the discard pile. So hopefully you don't feel a lot of pressure to add redundancy. Okay. after you have discarded the card, refill the line. Okay, all that. I would definitely put this in steps. I wouldn't want, again, I don't think you should be having your readers, your players read paragraphs. I don't think so. This should be a number of steps. Okay, we're flipping cards out. The player says, peanut butter jelly time. Now what? Step 1, remove the sandwich, or move the sandwich to the discard pile. Step 2, discard a card from your hand. Step 3, refill. See, so in this case, like that, this is a great example. You're such a strong writer, and I want to affirm you. I am teaching writing online for high school students and college students, and I'm trying to teach them to build the bridges like you're doing here, like to transition, to connect ideas and sentences. But in the rule book, you don't have to do that. We have other tools. In this case, it's formatting and it's listing. So you could say step 1, step 2, step 3. And I know that step 4 comes after step 3. So you don't have to tell me after you have discarded the card. I know that discarding the card was step 3. Now that we're on step 4, I know that comes next. Refill the line. I would come up with a way of describing what is happening here as basically like resetting whatever it is, the table, the zone, or something like that. And so you don't have to continually say refill the 5 piles because you've set it. It's not here. You say it pretty regularly. Like deal the 5 new cards into the center, and that's the same, but you're describing it differently. So, and is it deal? Or are you refilling? How many times have you said refill? Let's check, Francisco. Refill is only 1. There's only 1 refill here. Whereas you describe this system, this process more than once, but you only use refill once. So I would catch that and make a decision there about how you want to make an editorial decision. How do you want to refer to this and describe this system, this process, right? refill the line of piles with missiles. I think that makes sense. And a new spelling, brand new spelling of it. Thank you so much for this sideshow, Francisco. All right. Remember to flip new cards only after the player that called out peanut butter jelly time has discarded a card. You have to say all 4 words. Okay, yeah, I like it. I like these like notes, right? So I would have the process, like the steps, and then notes as clarifying notes like below, just like you have. But I would even set these apart as like notes. Notes. This, or remember, and then have a list of things to remember. In the case of a tie, if multiple players Jay, you and I have a similar writing style or had. And it has to do, it's a very self-conscious style. And I want to say this is not bad. It's not bad to be like, I really want my players to know what I mean. That's great. However, it's showing up in moments like this. In case of a tie, if multiple players finish saying this at the same time, right? So you have in case of a tie, and I know what you're getting at here. And so maybe what you're saying is this is almost functioning like a section heading right here. So it would be like ties, right? So the section heading would be ties, or in case of a tie. And then if multiple players say peanut butter jelly time at the same time, then all of those players get to discard a card. flip over new cards from the draw deck only after each of those players has discarded a card. Cool, okay. Peanut Butter Jelly Time does not interrupt turn order. Whomever is in line to take the next turn when a player finds a Peanut Butter Jelly Time. Oh, cool, okay. Peanut Butter Jelly Time does not interrupt turn order, okay. Whomever is in line to take the next turn when a player finds a Peanut Butter Jelly Time is still in line after the Peanut Butter Jelly Time is resolved. So this is interesting, and I want to keep highlighting this, and I don't want to say it's bad, but I want to bring it to your awareness that this and this are the same thing, right? So you want, I feel like you have this really strong sense that you want to be ultra clear, but what that's also doing is making you ultra redundant and ultra, in a sense, repetitive. So you turn that dial however you like, but when I'm reading along anything, when I'm reading along through a rule book or when I'm going through a novel, whatever it is, I don't expect the author to be saying the same thing multiple ways. I think, okay, this is the end of the sentence. Now that's one idea. They've captured one idea. If you want to tag, if you want to draw my attention specifically to the fact that you're clarifying something, you might say to clarify, whoever is in line, right? But that's only like, so think about this. So I'm trying to get to the game, right? I'm scanning through the rules. And it's up to me how closely I'm doing the reading. Right now, what you've asked me to do is, in several cases, read things that mean the same thing multiple times. So what I would prefer is to be able to absorb. So let's say in the case what I'm looking at right now, Peanut Butter Jelly Time does not interrupt turn order. Okay, I'm reading through. Okay, I'm a gamer. I got it. All right, and now I'm expecting another rule, but that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting a clarification on the rule that you just gave me. All right, and then I'm like halfway through the sentence, I'm thinking, wait, aren't you just saying the same thing over again? So then I didn't, like, if you tag it though, and I'm not saying this is a great idea, but I'm just trying to offer my experience as, a reader in the moment. If you say to clarify or for clarification, I don't think I would say to clarify exactly, but I mean, if you tag it somehow and saying, or like in other words, if you really feel the need to clarify, then I can skip that with no regrets, and I can come back if I need to. Whomever. Yeah. I always forget how whoever and whomever work. So, Francisco is pointing out that it should probably be whoever, not whomever. So, take that on board however you like. Yeah, whoever is in line. That sounds right to me. All right. You know what? We've actually, wow. It's been, about an hour, 20 minutes. I know I spent like 20 minutes beforehand. So it's been an hour on Peanut Butter Jelly Time. Dancing Banana and baseball bat cards. Okay, give each one their own section. I think that would be reasonable. If you play the Dancing Banana or baseball bat card, follow the instructions on the... Oh, I see what you're doing. I would probably do something like special cards. A category, maybe, but this is fine. Let's see, follow the instructions on the card and pass the turn to the next player. This is also the first time you've said pass the turn, I believe. I don't remember seeing pass the turn before. You usually say your turn is over, right? So pick one of those. Stick with it. If the Dancing Banana card is flipped off the deck and played to one of the 5 piles, every player can discard a card. Oh, fun. Okay, so Francisco is offering us a little grammatical clarification. If you could replace it with he, she, they, he is in line, then it should be who. If you could replace it with him, her, them, then you would use whom. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay. If the dancing banana card is flipped off the deck and played, deck, are you capitalizing deck consistently? And played to one of the 5 piles. What do you mean played to? Wait a minute. I think we're still running into an issue, which I think you were aware of. I think you were aware of this. Is that placing a card on the table and calling it a pile is confusing. I think you're aware of that. And I think this highlights how that's an issue. Because what I think you're saying is that there's an empty like space or slot or area for one of the 5 piles, and you're flipping a card into that space, right? But you're not playing a card into that space, right? You're flipping off the deck, which sounds funny, but you're flipping it off the deck. I don't understand this phrase here. Flip off the deck. I think other times, what are you doing? You're just refilling. That was the one time you used that one word. And what was another way you described that? Deal. You're dealing, right? You deal a card. So you're not flipping a card off the deck. I don't think so. So anyway, and play to one of the. If the dancing banana card is dealt, or if you deal the dancing banana card to one of the 5 piles, one of the 5 empty piles, maybe empty spaces. I don't know. Pile sounds better, but not sure why. Flip off the pile. Well, wait a minute, and replace with another card from the deck. I wonder why is this card here? I don't know the advantage of putting this card in the game. Also, now that I see what this card does, now I see you need to add a tie break because if you deal this card into one of the spaces for the piles, then multiple players can end at the same time, right? They can get rid of one card. Multiple players could discard their final card. So, what happens then? Also, now I don't really understand where we started because by noticing a complete peanut butter jelly sandwich. This is a peanut butter jelly time event right here, right? Of a single color out on the table spread among 2 or more piles. Oh, so the reason you're saying that this is the end of the game, that this is like a win condition, is that you get to discard a card when that happens. But this I would not put up here. I wouldn't include this second half. Because it's only on the way to emptying your hand. But you don't have to know all the possible ways to empty your hand yet. You just need to know that emptying your hand first is the way to win the game. It's just this is one of the events that allows you to empty your hand because you discard a card at the end. So I would definitely make adjustments here. Okay, I think we're almost there. Okay, and then yes, this is a new this would be a new section in this, a new subsection, because it should not be in the same paragraph as the banana card. If the baseball bat card is played to one of the 5 piles, every player must draw a card. Then the baseball bat card is discarded and replaced. Yeah, to be honest, I don't see the need for these cards. What are these? I really don't mean to be in development mode here, but like, I just don't, especially because they add to the rules and setup. Like if you see, and without understanding what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why they add to the game, but that's up to you. You're the designer. The first player to get rid of all cards in their hand wins. Okay, and then as I pointed out, I want to know what happens if Francisco and I both play our last cards at this. Empty our hands at the same time because of a dancing banana card. I want to know what happens then. Yeah. So anyway, this has been a very nice experience. I very much appreciate your handle on anticipating the needs of your reader. And I think what that's done at the same time, you're very, very sensitive to the needs of your reader. What I feel like that's done is it's inflated your word count, like pretty wildly. And it's a redundancy issue. Also, looking forward to more lists and fewer paragraphs. I think that will get you a long way, especially if you want non-gamers to read your rulebook. They'll be interested in lists. They don't want to read paragraphs. And yeah, I think I covered. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to loop back super quick to your definition of sandwich, and you're going to hate me for this. I get it already. I know I'm the bad guy here, but I want to push you to retheme this game. The reason is because I think that as I described at length, to define a sandwich as 3 cards is intensely problematic. I mean, in terms of like what the theme is all about here. So I would either redefine sandwich to mean there are 2 pieces of 2 bread cards on the table, and a peanut butter card and a jelly card, or retheme the game, because I think that will be so disruptive that a sandwich is not a sandwich in this game is not a sandwich in any other sense. So for that reason, I know you want to say peanut butter jelly time. I know you want people exclaiming that in the gaming hall, and that would be really fun. But I have a feeling, and I suppose you've already seen your players digest this fact, that a sandwich in your game is not a sandwich. I suspect you'll have players bouncing off of that idea regularly. So it might be worth investigating other themes or a redefinition of sandwich. So I think that's it for me on the rule book. And since we're at an hour and a half, I think that's it for me in general. Francisco, as always, appreciate you coming by and hanging out and causing some chaos. Also playing the grammar the grammar coach, I think, was a really neat face of you. I don't think I've ever seen that side of Francisco. So make it Sand Wizard and you will be gold. Sand Wizard. Yeah. Francisco, do you think I'm super out of line there? I know you missed the start, but how would you feel about a game called Peanut Butter Jelly Time, and it talks about sandwiches, and sandwiches are all throughout the game. They're super important to the game, except that a sandwich in the game it includes peanut butter, jelly, and 1 piece of bread. I got you. You're too clever for yourself right now. But how would that sit with you as a player? that you only need 3 cards to make a sandwich and not 4 cards. Would you care? Or would you be like the cleverer of us two and be able to adapt really quickly? Yeah, I really don't mean to be disruptive on this point and adamant on this point, but yeah, I think it is just, oh man, it's so basic as a cultural item, touch point, cultural feature of reality. Yeah, now this is a good point. I very briefly considered whether or not the bread might have 2 slices on it. And if that's the case, then I'm just super out of line. It doesn't matter. So it also could mean just your artwork showing that there are 2 open, empty slices of bread. And maybe that's what you did from the beginning, and I just spent 15 minutes in combination wasting our time. So, which is totally possible. Well, okay. Appreciate your time, and Jay, good luck with this game. I hope this this review was helpful, and yeah, looking forward to more, and then seeing how your game progresses. So, thanks very much, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I believe Friday I won't really have time to stream because I've got the retreat responsibilities in full tilt there. And yeah, it's going to be a great day. I can't believe 2 days away we've got our next retreat, and it's going to be a really good time. So thankfully I have a couple prototypes ready that I can have play tested. I hope to get some of those things to the table. But anyway, I should have one more day tomorrow, at least one more day this week for streaming, and then we'll be full speed ahead on the retreat. Anyway, thanks a lot. Be productive and nice to each other, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, bye-bye for now.